And Ashaunti Butler, who was 15. On March the 31st, 2016, the Pinellas County Sheriffs Department and the St. Petersburg Department murdered my babies. They took their lives at 4 a.m. in the morning and didn't tell me about it until 11:30 a.m. that morning. They didn't have the nerve to come to me like I was a human. They treated those girls like they were nothing. They stood there and they listened and they watched those girls take their last breath. I never even got to say goodbye to my babies. And so it is so important for us to understand that we have to unite and we have to fight for justice. We have to fight not for just those 3 girls, but for all African people, or as they would call us, black people of the United States, all over the world. We have to unite and fight for each and every one of us because they will continue to kill us and murder us. 3 young girls and the police, 17 officers stood there that night at that pond and talking like it was just something to hang out. Talking about, oh, I can hear them taking their last breath. They're effing done, man. Their own words released on video camera. And they thought that I was just supposed to take that. And then when they showed up to my job, they wanted to tell me that they never chased them, that there was no chase at all. The reports say that they didn't stop them for any traffic laws or anything. So why were y'all chasing them? Because 93 miles per hour is chasing somebody. And if you don't have no sirens on, and if you're in a car with dark tinted windows, they're not supposed to stop. Regardless of how they were in the car or where the car came from, it doesn't matter. That did not constitute you murdering them. So I stand here to tell you that we must bring it to an end because they will continue to murder us and kill us. And not because of anything that we've done or because we violated their so-called laws, but because we are African. And one being strong, we are one. And they know that. They know that when we unite and we resist their rules and their laws, when our resources come back to us, they know they're going to crumble. And they're going to have to get jobs, and they're going to have to be held accountable for all of the wrong they've done to us, all of the resources. And I'm not standing here because I don't want their money. They can keep it. But I want them to be jailed. I want criminal charges brought against all 17 of those police officers. Because you can just stand around and treat them like they're nothing, and then come to me if they're not supposed to accept that, you're wrong. So I knew what I had to do to fight for those babies, to fight for all Africans of the world. I had to join an organization because I had a lawyer. I mean, all the mothers had the same lawyer. But it was not about getting justice. They want money. I don't want the money. I want it to be made an example that you cannot kill us and get away with it. That we're going to fight by it. We're going to resist these laws. We're going to resist you because you don't belong here. This land is not their land. They stole it. Just like they steal our lives. And they will continue. But not with me. Because I'm a revolutionary first. And that means going to bring my people together so that they know that we are the people. So what I do is I work in the office of Deputy Chair of the Human Movement. I talk to people all the time to understand that have to build. And the only way to build is to work together under a mass organization that knows the science, that has been around for 45 years fighting and defending the rights of African people at home and abroad. That just don't do the talk, but actually go out there and do the work and talk to the people and unite the people and understand that we are all poor working class people. But the only way to overturn the system is if we come together, if we put together, if we overturn the contradictions that they make us face. Because those girls' lives, it mattered. But black power matters, and that's what we need to let them know. Not black lives, not brown lives or Mexicans or Latinos, none of that. Black power is what matters. When we have black community control of the schools, black community control of the police, black community control of these neighborhoods. When our resources go back to Africa, and when they stop looting Africa and they get out of Africa, then that's when we have won. That's when we have liberation and freedom of our own lives. You see these mothers around here on welfare, and they think that's enough to give them to feed their families. It's not, because all you're doing is making them either work extra hard on this white man's job to make ends meet, or not work at all. And either way it goes, it's the state that's still there, still trying to have a hand in our pockets. But we have to let them know, we know. And then they put us on housing, but then they kick out our husbands and our boyfriends and, our significant others who we're trying to build to help these people in our lives. Because it takes a village to raise a child. No mother, no single mother should have to be there by herself. That whole community should have the rights to be there with that child, to help raise that child properly, to help be in that child's life, to help bring that child up. That child belongs to the whole community, not just to that parent.
Yes.
And the only way we can do that is we join the movement and understand that the science is there.
Yes, it is.
That we have to continue to build our villages, to make our villages strong. If you don't believe me, go to apsp.org, and it's there. You can read about it. It's everything. All I do programs. And I don't just go out there and talk to the people and knock on doors and put my story out there. I do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I help build websites. I help build quarterly newsletters.
Mm-hmm.
I get the information. I work. I go out there and work at the flea markets that we have. Out here, foods and pies. I help build that.
Yes.
And organize for that and bring the people in so that we can help continue to have government of our own lives.
Yes.
So our people can help work. Because they send them in prison, and then when they let them out, these so-called jobs don't want to hire them.
Mm-hmm.
But we are making the institutions so that when they get out of those prisons, they can come in and they can have the means to be able to work and have food and stuff for their families. So they don't have to go back to the white man. So they don't have to return, go back to what got them in prison to begin with. We are laying the way out. We're making the payment. And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
We have to take control of our schools because they are failing our children at a ridiculous number. And they're doing it because they're trying to beliterate us. But we have to let them know that we don't have enough. Enough is enough. And we have to continue to do that. We have to build these women up and let them know. Because, they go into these houses and these, and they want to take the children away from these women. But we're not having that. No. You cannot sit there and tell us that we're not good parents. When y'all was coming to get us and making us slaves and being us in your house, we was good enough to be in your house. We were good enough to have your children breastfeeding from us. We was good enough to take care of your children. But I'm just saying, but we're not good enough to take care of our own children? Oh, no. So we are fighting for each and every right of the African community. For all women, for all men, for all children, for the whole African community, because it's a whole. And that's what we're fighting for. To help our life back to where we had it. We were once a free nation, living off the land, taking care of each other, grandmothers and grandparents in a household with the families. We don't have that now. We don't have our own homes, and when you do, you have to pay this ridiculous mortgage rate. But we built our own homes with sticks and bamboo and whatever we had to put shelter in our lives for our families. And we took care of our families. And we have to go back to where we came from. We have to go back to our roots, our ancestors. And we have to build and we have to learn and we have to do and implement the things and the teachings that they had. And we're not doing that now today. But we're going to go back to what we used to do, what we know that we can do. We have to go back to build ourselves and build ourselves up. And the way we're going to build ourselves up is we're going to crumble the state. We're going to make them crumble. We're going to make them overturn the laws that they have, because they can't have laws on us. Mm-hmm. They can't come here and say that we have to do it this way or we go to jail. Or we, and then they dump all these drugs into our neighborhoods. And then they legalize marijuana. Mm-hmm. But look how many people are in prison for just the marijuana alone. Mm-hmm. Why haven't they released them? No. You got marijuana legalized in California and all these other states, but all these people are still sitting behind jail, they're in these jail cells. You need to let them out now. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm fighting for, to overturn all of that. Mm-hmm. I may not be running for mayor or city council or any of that, but I am running for the people.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I want to say a little bit more about this mother. Kunde, I didn't hear what Columbi said, but you can let me know if I'm repeating what she said. Kunde would wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, maybe a little bit earlier, and she has 5 children, 6 children. Is it 5 or 6?
I have 5.
5. And she would organize her children to go to daycare, but she would get on the bus and go to a job way across town, fast food industry. And when Dominique was with us, Dominique would, fix herself in the morning to go to work or school. And she would get the younger kids, Yebu and JJ, who are very sweet, and organize them to go to daycare. And she would get on the bus, go way across town to the other side, the white side, to go work at the fast food restaurants. And then she would work 14-hour days to put food on the table, which still wasn't enough. And she'd get a little bit of assistance from the state. And this is the mother that they came to, who worked 14-hour jobs, who didn't have no sleep, who was trying to provide for her family. This is the mother that they came to and just said, your daughter's dead. With no care, no consideration. They didn't say anything about how she died other than we didn't taste her. And then they want to say, well, where were you? Where were you? Why was she out at 4 o'clock in the morning? Where were you? The woman was working. Like so many other poor working class women have to do every single day. We don't get a nanny. We don't get to have the time to sit down with our children and take them all over the place. We have to work to put food on the table. So many of our women, so many of our people, so many of our families are doing just that. And so here was a media campaign that not only sought to demonize the girls, but demonize the mother, because all of a sudden she became this bad mother. And people agreed with that. Where was you? And this is the type of thing that we push back against, because African women are often criticized for being home or not being home. There's no way, or pushing back or not pushing back. When we had Corinne Gaines in Baltimore, who sat there in the car and said, I know my rights, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, there was a firestorm on social media about her should have complied to what they were asking her. Had that been a man, nobody would have been pushing for her to do that. They would have been like, yeah, fight for your rights, but for her, she should have just shut up and took care of her kids and not fought back or told them what she knew as a woman and what she knew was her own right. And so we're dealing right here with this double thing that happens to black women, where if we push back and we have children, oh, you can't do that, especially if you have children. People use it as an anchor so that you can't organize, you shouldn't organize, you should be at home taking care of your kids. You can't speak up, you should be at home taking care of your kids. You can't fight back, you should be at home taking care of your kids. And people use it as an anchor to demonize us for wanting to free our people, holding us back, your family, your friends, and even the public at large. And so when Kunde was being told or demonized in the media that she was some sort of bad mother, as opposed to the police themselves who stood there and had the capacity to save these children and did nothing. So as an African National Women's Organization, we don't just fight against the so-called idea of patriarchy. We fight against the idea that colonialism has impacted the lives of our people to the point where it leaves a gap open to assault in so many different ways. And when we, as an organization, work to, say, expose the state-sponsored kidnapping of our children through programs like CPS and DHS, we're like, well, what's that? You know what I'm saying? People don't really understand why we would argue or defend women who may have contradictions, whose children are taken, but who desperately want them back and want to fix problems, if they exist. Or why we have the Kijiji Child Care Collective. And that's something that we want to bring the whole community together. So that this responsibility, like Kunde was talking about, the responsibility of raising and educating our children is that of the entire community. Or when we have our economic work, we don't get grants or funding from the state. We have a body care and a beauty brand that funds our work so that we can go put organizers in different places to help build the capacity of African women. Women don't have a voice. That's just the plain of it. Even when they think they have a voice, when they stand up, they're very shy. This is my experience. But they feel like they can't lay out the politics of the organization. They can't lay out the analysis that people are seeking for in the media. And so we are there to help give them these tools so that they can be proud and solid in their statements. That we are not just some organization. We're building to bring the most impacted of us into revolution. Kunde is a working mom. She's not was, she is. She still has those 5 children to raise. She still is organizing. She's in the streets with us, even for this. We out there trying to hand out flyers before this event. You know, she's out there, working on behalf of our people. So this ain't no, sit back, let's talk about it organization. We're doers. Even here locally, we go out and we do outreach, and we have events, and we try to bring people who wouldn't ordinarily know about who we are into a conversation around the issues that really impact us and that can actually transform the lives of our people. And we've been doing that for the last 2 years as ANWO, but 45 years is the whole entire movement. So it's a strategy to really win our people to an understanding that this ain't going to change. It's not. It's not. People have said that we have come so far. So far from what? From being free, captured, and then now we get to fight back for all of the rights that were stolen from us in the first place? That's not far. We're just getting back to the place that we need to be. But we have been taken away. Our freedoms have been taken away. Our identities have been taken away. Our languages our land, our bodies still have been taken away. And the things that are happening to us right now is a result of that attack on Africa. That the first mass exodus, the mass theft of our people was about exploiting our people. So now you have things like sex trafficking. Where do you think that came from? The sale of human bodies, the sale of sex for profit. It's rooted in capitalism. It's rooted in capitalism, which is the theft of our people out of Africa, the theft of our resources. And because we don't have that anywhere in the world, this is where we are dealing with right now. And how are we going to change that? Are we going to change that by voting it in? We could, maybe. But we got to be able to say that more than that we have to transform the world that we live in. Freedom for African women, freedom for African men, freedom for African children does not mean that we get to be a little bit better off in a system that continues to oppress us as a people. And my parents are from the Caribbean, so it ain't no better there. The continent of Africa is the black land. No, our people aren't better there, so if Africa ain't free, how the hell are we supposed to be free here in the United States when we are 13% of the population? And so we are here as an entire organization to raise this whole question up. We are here bringing Kunde to tell her story because we believe that we have to be the one that shapes the narrative around our people and give people the opportunity to ask questions and learn about who we are and what the strategy is. Now, the lawyer in the case is not here, but he could tell you that in St. Petersburg, Florida, you're not supposed to chase anybody. It's against the law to engage in a high-speed chase because of what happened to Dominique and Laniya and Ashaunti. But it's against the law to engage in a chase because of the amount of damage it can do. but they engaged in the chase with these girls. There's evidence to show, because we have the picture of the car, that the car was rammed, because there's a huge dent in the back of the car, and we think that the car was rammed into the pond. Because they have something called the pit maneuver, where that's how they get cars to spin out of control and to stop. And this person, Howard Scaggs, who was the person that led the chase, is the person who is an expert in the pit maneuver. And so we have this car spinning out of control, entering into this pond, the girls drowning, everybody, and their seat cushions are flotation devices. So after the case came out, there was this Negro who found himself, he worked somewhere in Pinellas County, this Negro that comes in there with some rain boots, says, look at this pond. See, it's just so thick, I can't move in it. And just giving this excuse as to why these officers didn't go in and rescue the children. Went in the pond, only about 2 feet in, and said, look, it's so thick, as an excuse. I mean, it was just ridiculous, because he was making it so an excuse for that, the reason why 17 men and women could not enter a pond, which was, I think, only like 10 feet out, to go rescue these girls, bust open a window before the even back part of the window was open, bust open the window, open the car, and get the girls. They just let the car sink, and then they didn't get it immediately. It was down there for a while, and when the girls came out of the car, they were all holding hands. They were all holding hands as they died. And they want us to believe that because a girl might have a problem in school, she might have an attitude, or she might be with her girls and they cut up a lot, and that is justification for them being killed. You want to know how much bad stuff white people do? You want to know how much bad stuff white people do? But they get away with it because, oh, they're just guys being guys or girls being girls. I mean, just crazy stuff. We've seen where y'all seen the videos, where white people can go ram through cars, throw over medians, almost, take guns off of police officers, tase them and stuff. You've seen it. And they just arrest them and take them away. But for us, it's a death sentence. And so we have to recognize that this is the life that we have been seeing more and more over internet and over the media since before Mike Brown. And so how do we solve these problems? Do we continue just to talk about it, or do we organize? Do we join an organization that is really trying to put in the work to transform the lives of our people? So the Uhuru movement is all over the world. We have AMWO has branches in Sweden, in London. We have members in South Africa and members here in the United States. So when we say touch one, we mean touch all. So we say touch one, and the response is touch all, because that's the way that we organize. We don't believe that there's going to be some sort of like Black American freedom struggle. We don't believe it's going to be a Caribbean freedom struggle or a Nigerian freedom struggle. We say that in order to really put forth the effort to change our lives, that we have to engage in a revolutionary struggle that's all over the world. And we do that by organizing our people. That is our strategy. And this started out as one group of people from St. Petersburg, Florida, and now 45 years ago, and now it's an international organization with people all over the world who have the same aims and same objectives. And so AMLO is building, even though we've been only 2 years old. We have programs that some of them I mentioned already, Arrest CPS, Uhuru Kijiji Child Care Collective, and our economic work, which is called Decolonize. And we also have a convention coming up next March to bring African women who really want to struggle around some of these issues into an understanding that you have to be a part of organization. You can't be an individual out here. You just can't be right in your own brain. Nobody's holding you accountable. How are you going to get better? How are you going to be stronger? How are you going to really solve the problem if you're out here by yourself? And so I've been in this work for 8 years. And I knew some stuff. I knew that the World Bank, the IMF, and the reason why Africans in certain places couldn't get in because they was in mad debt and all of these. I knew some stuff. But I didn't understand, but what was still a missing piece was like, how come Black people work real hard everywhere and still ain't got nothing? It's not because, obviously we're not lazy. We ain't lazy because you see that we ain't lazy, carrying sticks on our head and stuff on our shoulders, carrying babies here across town on the bus and struggling. We are not like working from sun up to sundown, just working. It's not that. It's because the system itself is bent or is grounded in our exploitation. It requires for its existence the oppression of African and other colonized people. Without having access to those resources, without having access to those lands, it would not be in existence. Europe would not exist. It would still be broken pieces of land. Italy was not even an entire country until I think sometime in the early 1900s. They were still different components in Italy. So they didn't become unified until they attacked Africa and colonized Africa and divided up Africa so that they can get a slice. So Italy had Ethiopia, and we had Spain, I can't name all of them, but obviously they put them up. That's why you have Africans in the continent who speak Spanish, who speak French, who speak English, who speak Portuguese. Portuguese is the most vicious of them all. Vicious. That's why you have Brazil, too. One of the biggest, has the largest populations of Africans outside of Africa. Not because, they kind of went on there for vacation, but because Portugal was the first ones who came into Africa and started to kidnap Africans in mass. And so this didn't happen. So we are here now as African people, and we say African because we don't consider these hyphens, these colonized borders, our identities. Yeah, we know that people have different cultures and they have different ethnicities and stuff like that. But we didn't vote to be Jamaican. We didn't vote to be African American. We didn't vote to be Nigerian. That name is a result of somebody coming up with a concept called nigger area. We didn't vote to be Cameroonian, which is translated to shrimp. We didn't vote any of that. We didn't organize ourselves and say this is going to be our country. It was given to us, these identities. And so that also helps to split us so that we don't see ourselves as one people. And that really contributes in a large mass to how we organize ourselves. Like if we see that our brothers and sisters in Colombia is going through that same thing in Choco and Buenaventura, is the same thing that was happening in Ferguson, the same thing that happens in Baltimore, the same thing that happens in South Africa. These are the struggles of African people, the struggles to be free and independent. And so, we have been, Kunde is a part of that. People often say, well, y'all talk about colonialism and imperialism, and regular Africans, regular black people don't get those concepts. She's an example that when you talk about it in regular terms, you can get it, and you can take it on as your own. And so, we really want to struggle for you all to, support her. And you can support by, one, joining organization, joining AMWO, joining the MPDM, joining the African People's Socialist Party, and helping to build the future where no more African children are going to be ran into a pond and murdered or shot down in the street or stolen by the state, or women and men are not going to be pitted against each other for the benefit of whoever. That we can actually build a future where we can actually be really free and can enjoy our lives without somebody dictating, how we're going to be moving. And so, AMWO, again, is that strategy. And we're just one part of that strategy. Columbai is the president of the PDM. She's another section of that strategy. We have an organization called ACTEP that focuses on food, clothing, agriculture, education, and healthcare. So we are trying to get Africans from all walks of life to participate in the work that we do. And so I'm just going to call Columbai back up into the room, just so that she can say some final words, and we can actually open up some questions actually about the case if anyone has any. So we're going to take some questions from Columbai, and anyone have any questions about the case? Yes, ma'am. Your name?
I'm Reverend Julianne.
Right.
So, this specific case and all the cases around the country, we're in a war of genetic annihilation. They mean for all of us to cease to exist. And at some point, a national effort to take the human rights violation to an international forum has to be initiated, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that.
I explained that I was part of the International People, and it's part of the Uhuru movement, and AMWO participated in this campaign that we had Africans Charged Genocide, because everything that we're talking about is genocide.
Yes.
And so we laid out a campaign, we laid out a petition, because we understood that African people have to understand that this is genocide, that all these symptoms is they're killing us for the food, they're killing us in the hospital, they're killing us on every horizontal violence, all of it. And so we laid it out in this petition, and we went to the UN. We wanted to do something real extreme, because not to get the attention of the UN per se, but our people. Because this is not the first time, this is not some new will, but we had Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and so many more of our ancestors that went to the UN and raised this up. But this was a time where the poor working class, the African People's Socialist Party, and the Uhuru movement, we went and we did a tour where we slept outside in 0-degree weather in tents. Me and other young people, we traveled everywhere the UN was at, we were there.
The UN
working group
on people of African
descent. Yeah. So they were listening to testimonies, and you know, for me, because I haven't been in an organization for a long time, and so for me, what was so telling is that we weren't in that room. People like that come from me, from the hood, like we weren't there. You know what I'm saying? And so all these people fighting for all this different stuff, and they just afraid to call it what it is. You know, and so we traveled, and we went. It ended up in Washington D.C. And they had, we were able to come. They tried to not tell us. They someplace when we went to New York, they met us with police. Like they said, we gonna bust your head. Your head gonna get busted. We was like, we still going. We gonna go. We ain't gonna get nobody head busted, but we gonna show up in Washington D.C. And we went to Washington D.C. and we won the people as our protection, and the people pushed the pigs back. You know what I'm saying? The pigs, they stood, and then they knew that we were a lot of African women and young people, so they sent black women cops to stand in front of us. It broke my heart. Excuse me, like broke my heart. So we end up in D.C. and they told us that we were going to be able to send one representative, part of the last part of it where they read their report, and then they lied and wouldn't tell us. But our comrades, see, we ready to govern now, because being a part of an organization, we our own media, we our own detectives and everything. So we had people on the ground like, I found out where they at. Yeah. So we said we're gonna hold our own press conference downstairs. So we doing our press conference, and somebody said they gonna let one person in, but they didn't know who we were. So we sent our editor-in-chief, African woman in New York, to upstairs, and she was probably the most clean, because again, I had been sleeping outside for a week strong. So she went upstairs, and I got upstairs too. And if you read the UN's report, they say reparations to African people because of the struggle and the work that the poor working class, that the Uhuru movement had done. You know what I'm saying? And they said that they recommend that America pay reparations. Now, do I believe America will ever just clean the slate? No. But the part of this campaign was to win our people. That once that Africans charge genocide, that we know that one, that we're all one people, and two, that this is genocide, and who our enemy is, that means revolution. So as an organizer, it's my responsibility to make that a household word, that we charge genocide. So that's just a piece of the work that we have done. But in the 45 years of our history, we were part of the first tribunals around genocide and the conditions that African people experience every single day, and we continue to raise this struggle and bring us into this. We went to Flint, Michigan, to tell them that this is genocide. That's why you got dirty water. You know what I'm saying? And the people of Flint said, I don't see organizers all over. But they hugged us and they appreciated us, and you can go on African Shores Genocide on Facebook and get their testimony of saying that more important than the water that people brought us, you brought us hope by telling us that that we are part of a collective people that understand that we being killed. Thank you. And they signed the petition, so many of them, and they still got dirty water today.
And
we wanted to get that petition, so we followed them through 5 cities. It was Chicago, who was in Texas, Alabama, New York, Washington D.C.
Those 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was another place.
Me too.
Yeah. And these people had this. These organizers went to every single city, had a van packed up. Teenagers was in that van, traveling, sleeping in tents, cold weather. And you know, when we got here to D.C., we was out in front of Union Temple Baptist Church. That's where they had the meeting at. And you know, we recognize, like he said, that we have to make this. We want to raise this up because it is a human rights violation, right? And then, but the genocide word has largely been captured just for Jewish people. You know, people hardly say, well, you know, Africans experience genocide every single day. The conditions that we are faced with are every single day, and so. And so this is what, and so the petition, which was supposed to get how many signatures?
Don't get me. I don't know.
So he was supposed to get a certain amount of signatures, yes. Certain amount of signatures so that we would actually go to the UN in New York and deliver this once we got the signatures that we needed. So we're still in that process. Yeah, we had an online signature as well.
Yeah, still you can sign the petition. It's AfricanShortGenocide.org. AfricanShortGenocide.org, and we have a Facebook page where you can follow like all the work that we have been doing and still doing around African Short Genocide, and that is on Facebook, African Short Genocide on Facebook, and you can get all the, see all the work that we have done with African Short Genocide and how much more we need to do and continue to do to win the support of our people to understand it. Because when we were in D.C., we were out in the community because we were there, we did our testimony, but we wanted to reach our people because the poor working class didn't even know that they were having testimonies inside of every city we went. They was like, who? Huh? What is this about? They didn't know. We didn't know, because we not organized. And we went and we were getting testimony from the people in the community. And while we were in D.C., we seen this African teenager that was like 14 years old get hemmed up by the police. I mean, police, just jumped out on him all over the place, had him hemmed up on the wall and everything. And because of, we had Aaron O'Neill, which is our lawyer and part of the African People's Socialist Party, he was out there with us. And we were chanting, we brought people all out of their jobs, the bank, everybody was out there looking to see what, and the police couldn't do anything to this child because we were out there. And Aaron is a lawyer, so he went over and talked to them, and they let him go. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they had stopped him is because they said he fit the description, like always. And this is a kid. We had just talked to him. He had just signed our petition. He was just telling us, like, am I old enough to sign it? And I want to sign it. And we were just explaining to him, because he said, I don't know what genocide is. And we was explaining to him what genocide is. And then he made 2 steps down, and police from everywhere jump on him. You know what I'm saying? And so, that was just some of the different things that we had seen in some of the cities with genocide.
Any other questions? So what are some of the things that we are asking people to do for the 3 Drowned Black Girls?
Yeah, so with the 3 Drowned Black Girls, because this case is being led by, us, the people. These are our babies. And the state refused to pick up charges. So we have to file a lawful death suit against the Pinellas County Sheriffs Department for these 17 cops that stood there and watched these babies drown. And so to file this costs money. It costs a lot of money. And for us to get the evidence that the police have, they are charging us, to do that too. So like the legal fees is one of the biggest things that we need support. We need support. We need people to, nothing is too little, nothing's too big to donate resources. And so on this campaign, we have, on this tour, just this part of the tour, because we have did a lot of things. We have did fundraisers, we have did car washes, we have did a lot of things globally of our organization. But on this campaign, we so far have been able to raise over $2,000. And so we are continuing to try to raise the resources that we need for the legal fees of this campaign and, to take it to court. Aaron O'Neill he wasn't able to be here, but he knows the exact dollar amount that we need, and we are approaching. We excited because we are very closely to be able to have the resources that we need to file this legal case. And I would like to say that the other two, Kunde was saying earlier that, you know, she had a lawyer that was given to her by Black Lives Matter, that was trying to tell her that she had to take speech therapy and she couldn't. They didn't want her to talk because, you know, you basically, you too hood or you too black, you know, so let me talk for you, you know what I'm saying, so I can apologize for the girls because I don't like the way your language sounds. And she was like, you know what, I'm not doing this, you know, so we have our own lawyer that she can, you heard her, you know, she now understands that she has power, and that's what I love about the rural movement. It's because we have been told we can't do so much, you know what I'm saying, especially the poor working class that's exploited. The whole African community have been touched by this system, but the exploited community, and while we understand that the poor working class got to lead this struggle, because our interest is a little different, because we have no stakes in this state. We don't have no stakes in this. In petty bourgeoisie, they got a little house, maybe got little trinkets that they don't want to lose, but I don't have nothing. They can't take nothing from me. So everybody got to be free. When I'm free, we all free.
That's right.
And that's Kunde. And so Kunde, she chose to go with a different lawyer, but now both of them other mothers see that what the rural movement is doing is way different than Black Lives Matter, so they have joined us too. So this is a class suit with all three girls now.
And I want to say that this whole idea of the mothers being pitted against one another, and also for the rural movement to be demonized in that way as well. People was just like, oh, y'all violent, right? We ain't never been in a fight at all. But because our language is so like, we gotta have revolution, people are scared of that. And so they don't want to be, some people were warning her not to be associated with us because we say we gotta overturn the system. And you gotta have strong language. You can't be no coon, you can't be half-assed with it. You have to be strong. And so I just wanted to say that because people, you know, this is the time right now.
You know the Reverend, no, you said Reverend, right?
Yeah, you know, I just want to, there's a healing and a psychosocial piece to the trauma that we're all experiencing. There are a lot of, you know, Jesus was a seer. And the trauma, the emotional and psychic trauma that we're all experiencing is so heavy. And as you move forward, as we move forward together to weave, God is showing me weaving the strands of consciousness, because it's not a crime to be middle class. You can be down, really down, and be middle class. And weaving together the church people who've been steeped in their own ideology, who may not know better until, and that's why I love your story, because we could stay reading Paul forever and never understand that the persecution that he inflicted on people. We're experiencing that now, and the high-end black folk are going to feel it because everybody's babies are at risk. So I would, you know, I'm also a licensed attorney. I know Aaron. My suggestion is to contact the National Black Lawyers, even a segment within the ABA. There's somebody in there who will work on the human rights piece and amplify it and take it to The Hague. And then communicate with Pan-African organizations who, you know, because we're all splintered right now. And healing the rifts between the different segments of the black community is going to bring us all in alignment and make the cause a universal cause. And I think that's where we all have to be at a certain point.
Just like Jesus said, the way to me is narrow, and you can't take everything with you.
Well, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And the way to freedom is narrow. You know, it's narrow. In Luke 16, he said, you know, he had just worked miracles amongst the people. And he looked at the people and he said, who should I ever hate? And these people were following him because they were like, whoo, you know, they were down. And, you know, he had spoke the word that they was like, I'm following you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take us to the promised land. And, you know, I'm following you because you gave me hope today where I felt so hopeless. And they were following him. And he turned and he said, who should I hate their sister, hate their brother, hate their father, hate their grandma, hate even their own life? I tell you, they cannot be my disciple. And the disciples looked at Jesus and said, why would you say that? Like, all the people, the Bible say that all the people went away sorrowful. All of them went away. Because it come to a point with all of us, whoever, Christian, Muslim, whoever. The way to freedom is narrow, and we can't take this stuff with us. Bottom line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, we can't take it with us. And, you know, I want to see all my people to make it there. But at the end of the day, that we all got to bear our own cross to get to the other line. And I think that, you know, because even like me understanding scripture and understanding, like, you know, revolution, you know what I'm saying? I understand that we've got to be free because God is perfect. And he is not okay with the unjust of this filthy, dirty, bloody, genocidal system, raping, and everything that we ever been through. So the righteous thing to do is not always the good thing or sound good, but it's the righteous thing to do. And the righteous children of God have to stand up and understand that we have to forge this revolution. You know, but I want to appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I just had a question. Knowing, or I think it's been implied that there's a difference in strategy between what Uhuru and Anwar, like how you approach, you know, these issues with, there's a difference between how you all approach things versus how Black Lives Matter approaches things. And I'm wondering, is there an interest to create a dialogue in which to start kind of like, you know, kind of bringing these two or different groups of people, different strategies together to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But there was a dialogue. Yeah, it was. There was a dialogue. There's been dialogue, and I think overall the Black Lives Matter movement have honest people in it who want to see a change. But unfortunately, the Black Lives Matter movement has been co-opted.
Well, it's not even a movement.
Well, it's a company now. So
Yeah.
it's a nonprofit. Has been co-opted and bought out by people who consider themselves philanthropists. And when you are being given money, they dictate how you spend that money. And even before that was the case, we had these dialogues with people and said, this is the strategy. And he was like, no, we have to reform. And we're not about reform. We said to what end are we going to reform the system? We got more people in Baltimore who are in leadership positions within the police force and the government. Yet the city has all these vacant houses where African people are still in abject levels of poverty. We have more Black officials who are in government throughout the country who may have considered that voting themselves in would be the change that would, you know, create differences in a lot of African people. But in the last 2 years alone, we have seen so many African people be shot dead, on camera no less. And the reform also comes in the form of body cameras. So now that the cameras from the Quickie Mart wasn't enough, now we could have the officers walking around with cameras shooting us down. Just the other day, the woman who shot Terrence Crutcher, I think, was just let off.
Betty Shelby.
Yeah. Just let off.
With back pay.
Back pay. So, and then I saw something where Black Lives Matter in, I think it might have been Texas, where they decided to have a protest but ended up having a cookout with the police.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
We would never do something like that. So there are different ideologies, and I know that there has been some strategies for the Black Lives Matter to become more revolutionary and take on some more socialist objectives.
To even have some demands
that they didn't have initially. So, so these dialogues have, I think, in some way influenced that movement to be a little bit more aggressive. But still, it is funded by the philanthropy, Ford, Kellogg Foundation, Rockefeller, all of these things. The Hoover movement are funded by ourselves. We have furniture stores that fund our work. We have flea markets that fund our work. We have each organization of the Hoover movement have our own economic development. We don't get funding from anybody. And so that determines the people who buy our stuff, the people who visit our stores, that and our interest is in for African people. So they determine we work for them. So we don't work for anybody else who may give us $1 billion, but want us to focus on voting rights as opposed to like doing something real, using that $1 billion to say, listen, I'm gonna build a fort in my community, and like, or something like that, to actually use that money to like really impact the lives of our people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was gonna say that even if we do use a reform, like black community control of the police is a reform until we get free, right? Mm-hmm. And we have candidates, Akile, which I want to shout out, that she's the chair of the 3 Drowned Girls campaign, and she's not here because she's running for District 6 City Councilwoman. And these are reforms, right? But it has we have to always have a to what end. So if you have a reform, that the reform can't just keep the people like, okay, we win, if Akile win office, we free? No. You know what I'm saying? That is a reform that has a to what end to use as a blueprint, because our people are glued to these state elections right now because of Trump. So now we sit using this platform to say black community control the police, economic to the black community, and have a revolutionary trajectory. You know what I'm saying? So if we do have a reform that we use, right now, while we're not free, it always have a to what end. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have a to what end, or what are you doing?
And we don't compromise on the position that we can go into electoral politics all we want, but we never compromise on our message. We say radical times equals radical solutions, and we go into the office and campaigning on black community control of the police. And there's no that's what we're going to push for.
Reparations to the black community.
To the black community, economic development. These are the things that we're going to push for, and we're going to struggle to win. And we do that primarily not to really think that we, as one person or 2 people, that we're going to change the whole system, but we do that to do
pressure
political education to the population, who ordinarily when kind of a Sunday mass meeting that the Hoover movement is happening. But if you go campaign and say, this is what I want to get into office to do X, Y, and Z, they're like, yeah, and they wish.
It's a movement. I've seen it. Like, I've been in St. Pete to see like this campaign. And it's so powerful to see Africans come into political life. It's a movement behind it. Mm-hmm. And that's what's important, because we nothing without the masses of people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how we can make ourselves feel good that we got the answer and we better than Black Lives Matter, but if we ain't organizing, then the shame is on us. Because that's our job. Mm-hmm. We nothing without the people. We have to win, not everybody, but the masses, to understanding that what we got to do. And so that's why the strategy of the Hoover movement of AMWO and all the different things that we have is so strategic, and everybody have a place. Just like my sister said, it's not that the middle class is not being touched by the system. Mm-hmm. Well, we got a real, we got the answer to that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because we understand that the poor working class gonna lead. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that the middle class got an interest. Yeah. So they understand that I can't trust myself all the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm being led by the poor working class, but they have an interest in it. And it's people that's lawyers, like Aaron O'Neill, that we got doctors, and different people that, nurses, Conrad got a job. We got people, you know what I'm saying, that might be considered working, but they part of this movement, and they leaders of this movement. You know what I'm saying? But we understand that until Pookie and Ray Ray and Little Pistol Starter and Little Stomach Ache is free, ain't none of us free. And the hurt that we have, I'm telling you, I suffered mentally, and the most stable that I have ever been in my life, after being through everything that I've been through, is now that I've been fighting for revolution. It's a purging that happened to you when you participate and you organize for Black Power. Yes. No counselor, all the therapists that I had, all the counselors that I've been to, every psych ward that I sat on, could not give me what I have right now for fighting for my liberation, my freedom. And so that's how we're gonna become whole. You know what I'm saying? By creating this new world right now.
So we're gonna wrap it up. We do want to tell you how you can donate, because as she said that there were legal fees that we had to accommodate. So we're going to go to 3drownedblackgirls.com.
Yeah, you can go to it's Justice for Dominique Battle.com. So it's Justice, the number 4, Dominique Battle.com.
And if you're online, please do that as well. I know that we have some people who are looking at us on live stream. And just also talk about the case. Just in March, and 1 year anniversary after Dominique, Laniya, and Ashaunti were murdered, we filed a wrongful death suit in Pinellas County, Florida, against the Pinellas County Police Department. And that's something that is going to be ongoing until we win. And so we want you to continue to stay on top of that, follow the hashtags, hashtag 3.
Like the page, share the page.
3DBG, and also, if you are interested in the work of the WHO movement, find out more about us. AMWO is right here in Washington, D.C. We have in Peter, we have the African People's Socialist Party. You have information about AMWO. And please, let's organize. Let's find ways that we can work together and really build for the liberation of our people.
And we talked a lot about actually being organized, and I understand some people say these are mass organizations. So like the NAACP, people got a card and never go to one meeting, go to any of their meetings, don't do anything, but they pay $5 a month to be a member of that organization because they understand that they got to be funded. Mm-hmm. And so if you someone is saying, I like what y'all doing, but I don't have the time because I'm going to school or I'm working, I got a lot going on, I can't do all that, but I can pay $5 a month to be a member of AMWO to make sure that the Women's Commission continue to do all the great work that we get Conrad, because yesterday she's brilliant, and more African women need to hear her, and African women we cannot let them be bought up by the feminist movement and keep fighting for Becky's 15 cents. You know what I'm saying? We just can't do it, and we are not against African men. And so it's so important. The women's organization is critical to the revolution because women are significant to this movement, and we will lead this movement, and we will be on the front lines. And so we got to have people like AMWO and the women's organization. So support this movement, even if you saying that I can't come to y'all meetings, I can't sit on calls, but I do want to support it. You know what I'm saying? I do want to be able to give something. It's a way that you can do that because it's a mass organization. So we already know that everybody that come in won't, actually be, hitting the ground running. Even though we would like you to. We want you to. And we encourage you to. But we're meeting you right at your political door, and we'll win you to that. Yeah. So, but we'll win you right where you at. So support it, because I say all the time, where your wallet is where your heart is. You know what I'm saying? And it's not okay for your wallet. This one lady said, well, yeah, my heart is, I buy black. And I said, but black capitalists is not going to help us. So if your money is not being contributed to build a new world, then simply buying black ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's a start, but we got to say that it got to be built. The money have to go to creating and building something that is going to speak for our own interest. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just buying black and they take their money to the white bank every month and won't give us a loan, then what is that doing for us?
We fight for Shanae, Shaniqua, and all them.
Yeah.
Too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. Because if the most object of us aren't even getting representation, then none of us can get that.
I wanted to appreciate the sister in the back. Kunde wanted me to appreciate you. What's your name? I'm sorry. Yvonne. I wanted to appreciate Yvonne. She was just at the library, and she came and she heard the story, and she came in and sat with us. But before she came in, she wanted to show her appreciation and her love and her dedication and how much she support by a token of love. And Kunde she wanted you to know that she was giving this for the legal fees, So,
I thought that was my card.
Huh?
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought she was saying you. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, she gave it to me. So I wanted to, really appreciate it. And it's because, and she said, I don't want her to be offended, but she's organized and she wanted it to go towards, putting these cops where they're supposed to be.
Right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you so much for your patience at the beginning of the program, and thank you so much for asking your questions and being so attentive. We appreciate you. We have your contact information, so as we continue to get more events and more updates around this case, then we will continue to update you. We hope that you can come out to other events that we have. So thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.